Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing how to analyze a Bazi chart if your daily master is a Yin Wood called Yi, looking like this in Chinese, born in the winter season. Because the dominant element for winter is water, so the personality of a winter-born Yin Wood person tend to be more reserved, introverted, and humble. They're very low-key and go with the flow. They don't like to be the center of attention or super competitive or confrontational. Sometimes, even though they might be taken advantage of by other people, depending on the severity, they may decide it's not worth their energy to fight for their rights or just engage in a confrontational situation. They might choose to let it go. And for the Bazi structure, position number 6 is your birth month. So you have 3 options, right? Hai is for the beginning of November, Zi is the beginning of December, and Chou is the beginning of January. The common theme for all 3 birth months, the favorable element would be yang fire. That's the number 1 ideal answer. So because the Bazi chart, position number 6 is the most influential player, is painting this default environment of cold, wet, and damp season. So as long as you have a very strong yang fire showing up in your Bazi chart, meaning either a yang fire on the top row in connection with a strong rooting system like another fire or dry earth type of earthly branch on the bottom row, it's a very strong yang fire to play a positive role in your Bazi chart. That's a great foundational Bazi chart to begin with. There might be fine-tuned differences amongst the different birth months, but the general overall theme is yang fire. That's the number 1 answer. There could be a secondary player on the condition is too much water. When I say too much water, it might be like 2 or more than 2, either yang or yin water on the top row, and you have another 1 or 2 matter or water type of cold elements sitting on the bottom. In that case, the very targeted medicine would be to use dry earth, like yang earth on the top row, or the dry earth type, like Wei Tu or Xu Tu on the bottom row. That's how you cure the too much water disease. However, if you don't have that too much water condition in your Bazi chart, you don't need to introduce that yang earth player. The number 1 favorable element would be yang fire. So for this November birth month, it consists of beginning of winter and lesser snow. That's the 2 solar terms. It's a fairly cold and damp season, so yang fire is the number 1 favorable element. But I want to use this as an opportunity to introduce a more deeper concept of Bazi. The question is, why does yang wood born in the same birth month have a different favorable element compared to Yin Wood? They're both wood. They're both the same wintering season. Why is the analysis process different? That's when we talk about the concept of qi in Bazi. So even though both yang and yin wood belong to this wood 5 element, there's a major difference between yang and yin. Yang is the inside internal invisible qi and spirit of the wood element. Yin is the external visible physical shape and body of this wood element. And there's a timing difference between the two. So the qi of this internal energy has to be introduced first, and then there's a time lag before you see the impact of this qi on this external physical wood body, to see like it's maybe getting taller or stronger because of the support of the qi. Because there's that time lag, that's the reason. At yang wood during the November birth month, the wood qi is already coming in because the next season will be spring, and the dominant element for spring is wood. So it has this supporting qi in itself, so it's able to withstand the yang metal cutting and suppressing energy to trim away a big growing tree's dried up branches, so it can conserve its nutrients in the rooting system. In contrast, for yin wood, it takes time to enjoy the benefit of that qi. During that same time frame, it's at a fairly low dipping point of the wood qi. So it's not as strong enough to take this metal's suppressing and cutting energy compared to yang wood. And also, like yin wood means a little grass or little flower or plant. It doesn't have that need to trim away the dried up leaves compared to the yang wood's big branches, because the leaves doesn't really suck up that too much energy. It really, the more critical favorable element will be that strong body of heat in the external environment, so I can have a very balanced ecosystem. So that's, I just want to introduce a more deeper level concept of this time lag between yin and yang when the qi is introduced versus when you see the impact of the qi on the inside of external visible body existence. So that's why the yin wood born in November really prefers to yang fire, which is quite different compared to a yang wood born in the same season. The next birth month is Zi, so that consists of greater snow and winter solstice. Same answer. If you have a yang fire in the Bazi chart, it's a really good Bazi chart. The minor call out is on the condition your birth date is after winter solstice, you might be able to get away with the yin fire as a favorable element if you don't have this ideal yang fire to play with. The rationale for that is remember when I was explaining that 24 solar terms concept is truly based on the Earth orbiting around the sun, its track. There are 4 major anchor points on the track to derive into this 24 overall solar terms, representing the climate change throughout the year, right? And the 4 anchor points are winter solstice, summer solstice, and then you have the spring and fall equinox. So for this particular anchor point, that is the shortest daytime and longest nighttime. Daytime means yang and nighttime means yin. After this pivotal point, the daytime, the yang is getting stronger and stronger when we go into spring and summer, whereas the nighttime yin is getting shorter and shorter and fading away. So because of that macro environment of yang growing stronger, so if your birth date is after this pivotal point, you might have a less reliance on this yang fire to balance your environment because you have that help from this macro environment. So as long as you have a fairly strong yin fire to play with, that could still be a very good Bazi chart. What do I mean by a strong yin fire? Meaning that if you see this yin fire ding only showing up in one of the remainder positions, that's not good. It's still a yin type of fire. It's not as effective as like the sun or a yang fire to warm the environment. So it needs help. Maybe position number 2 is a yin fire and position number 1 is a yang wood called jia, because yang wood grows and supports yin fire. So it has a really good friend supporting it on the top row. On top of it, you also need a good fiery type of supporting rooting system on the bottom row. So we're looking for a fire type of earthly branch called Wu, or dry earth type, which includes more wood and fire in it, called Wei. Then you have a very strong favorable fire element to be a substitute for this yang fire ideal player. And that still will be a good Bazi chart. Last but not least is this Chou birth month. meaning the beginning of January. That's a transitional month from winter to spring. So you have lesser cold and greater cold as the two solar terms. Still, number one answer is looking for yang fire. Same logic as the 2 months prior to it. I just want to wrap up today's video with introducing an exception Bazi type. So most of Bazi is kind of a seesaw. You have a camp of element either supporting me or same as me. So in this case, you have water grows wood or another wood making me strong. And then on the other side of that seesaw is the element reducing my energy. So either fire or earth or metal, right? Those are either cutting, suppressing me, or the things I grow or suppress. But overall, it's reducing my own strength. The standard Bazi type is all about balancing. That's how you define and identify favorable element. Is what else little ingredient I need to keep my seesaw fairly balanced. There's an exception type. What happens is, in a Bazi chart, on this little camp, I'm very lonely. I only have one by myself. The rest of the 7 letters were all up on the other camp. In that case, I don't even have a fighting chance to be balanced. It takes too much. And what's the chance the annual or 10-year external environment will introduce so much friends to even keep me in a balanced state? So because I don't have a fighting chance, it will be smart of me to follow my enemy camp so we can keep this very severely tilted position the way it is. The moment I start to show some strength, all those strong enemies will start to squash me down. So it's actually more beneficial for me to just mingle with them and play with them. That's the exception type that you actually crave more of the enemy type of element to keep the tilt. So the logic is kind of opposite from the standard Bazi type. But with that said, I just want to introduce a concept. It's very rare to come across an exception type. Most of the case, you still have a very standard type too. Like, am I fairly weak? I need more help to balance, or I'm too strong, so I need my other enemy type to keep me balanced. So that's kind of a quick overview of Winterborn Yin Wood Daily Master. Next episode, I'll share some case studies to further illustrate today's concept. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.